Alright, Part 255, Transmission Distribution Lines, New York Code Rules Regulation, Design of Pipeline Components, Scope. Alright, 255-141, Scope. Section 255-143 through 255-193 is the part with the minimum requirement of design insulation pipe components facilities other than overuse, overpressure protection. 255-143, general requirements. Each component of the pipeline must be able to withstand operating pressure and their anticipated loadings, impairment, and serviceability of unit stress equivalent that is either allowed or comparable to material of the pipe at the same location, kind of surface. However, the design based on the unit stresses impact, particularly for a particular component with the design may be either the pressure rating established with the manufacturer pressure testing component, a prototype of the component. Design installation pipeline component facilities must meet with applicable requirements corrosion control found in this part, except the access flow valves of each plastic pipe component installed after January 22, 2019 must be able to withstand operating pressure and other anticipated loads according to the listed specification. Alright, 255-144, qualified metallical parts. Notwithstanding the requirement of this part, incorporates the reference addition with the document listed in Section 10.3 with Appendix 14B of this title of the metallic component manufactured according with any of the other edition of the document is qualified use under this part. It can be shown through visual inspection of the clean component with the noted effect with the might, repair, strength, or tightness of the component exists. The addition of the document which the component was manufactured is equal with the more stringent requirements of the addition of the document currently with the previously incorporated by the reference is described in 10.3 with Appendix 14B with the title for the pressure testing materials and pressure temperature ratings. Valves, 255-145. Valves. Except this cast iron plastic, each valve must be minimum requirements equivalent with the NSI API 6D. A valve may not be used under operating conditions that exceed the applicable pressure temperature rating contained with the standard that each cast iron plastic valve must comply with the following. Valve must have the maximum surface pressure for the rating with the temperatures equal to the exceed the maximum surface temperature for the valve must be tested with the part of the manufacturer's valves. With the valve in the fully open position, shell must be tested. No leak of the pressure at least in 1.5 times the maximum surface rating. After shell test, the heat must be tested with the pressure not less than 1.5 maximum setting. Surface pressure rating except for the swing check valve with the test pressure during the test seal test. Seat test must be applied successfully on each side of the closed valve with the opening ones open with opposite side open. No visible leak is permitted. After the last pressure test is complete, the valve must not be operated with a full travel to demonstrate with freedom and interference. Each valve must be able to anticipate the operating conditions. No valve and shell, body, bonnet cover, or end of flange components must be ductile iron, maybe even the pressure exceeding 80% of the pressure ratings. Compressible steel valves are listed temperatures. However, the valve that having self-shell components must be ductile iron, maybe even the pressure up to 80% of the pressure ratings. The comparable steel valves are listed in temperature if temperature adjusted surface pressure does not exceed 1000 psi gauge. Welding is not only with the ductile iron component fabrication of the valve shell of their assembly. No valve having shell, body, bonnet cover, and flange components made with the cast iron, malleable iron, ductile iron, maybe used with the gas pipe with the component of the pressure station. Same things, excess flow valves, plastic valves installed with the January 22nd of 2019 must meet with the minimum requirement listed specification. Valve may not be used under operating conditions that exceed the applicable pressure and temperature ratings contained in listed specifications. 255-147, flange and flange accessory. Each flange and flange accessory must meet with the minimum requirements of ASME, ANSI B1615, and MSS SP44, described in 10.3 of the title, or with the equivalent each flange assembly must be able to withstand maximum pressure of the potential pipelines operated with maintained physical, chemical property with the temperature anticipated might be the subject of service. Each flange or flange joint cast iron pipe must conform with the dimension, drilling face, gasket design, ASME, ANSI B16-1, described in 10.3, 2 of the title, gasket integrally with a pipe and valve fitting. Bolt and stud bolts usually extend completely through the nuts. 255-149, standard fittings. The minimum metal thickness of the bedding fittings may not be less than specified by the pressure temperature for the applicable standards reference for this part with the equivalent each steel bodied welding fitting must have the pressure testing ratings based on the stress of the pipe at the same. The equivalent material of the actual bursting strength of the fitting must be at least equal computed burst strength of the pipe designated material with wall thickness determined with the prototype that was tested at the least pressure required with the pipeline to which it is being added. C plastic fittings installed after January 26th, 2019 must meet a listed specification. passes the internal inspection device. Except to provide in subdivision B of the section of the new transmission line, each pipe section valve fitting or other component of the transmission line that is replaced must be designed and constructed commonly with the patch of the instrumented internal inspection device. This section does not apply to manifolds, station piping, compressor station, meter station, regulator stations, piping associated with storage facilities other than continuous run transmission line or compressor station storage facilities. Crossover. So the pipe instrumented internal inspection the device is not commercially available, and transmission line is operated in conjunction with the distribution system, which is installed in Class 4 locations. Alright, 255, 155, 1, tapping. Each mechanical fitting U with the tap must be designed at least for operating pressure of the pipeline with the ductile iron tapped. You're on full threaded engagement. The needed U with the outside ceiling strip with the connection, tapping, saddles, or other fixtures terminated with the strip with the condition with the diameter of the thread tap with the cast iron ductile iron pipe exceeds 25% of the nominal diameter of the pipe. The pipe must be reinforced except by that 1/4 inch tap may be made in 4-inch with the cast iron ductile iron pipe without reinforcement of the cast iron pump of the nominal diameter 6 inches or less. All thread taps of the service line connections must be reinforced. Components fabricated by welding, except for the branch connection assembly with the iron pipe and fittings joined with the circumferential weld with the design pressure for the component fabricated with the welding, whose strength cannot be determined, must be established in accordance with the paragraph UG 101 ASME Boiler Vessel Code, Section 8, Division 1, Section 10.3 of the cell. Each prefabricated use of the plate and longitudinal seams must be the design, constructed, tested in accordance with Section 1 ASME Boiler Pressure Vessel Code, Section 8, Division 1, Section 8, Division 2. And manufactured butt weld fittings pipe have then produced the test on the specification listed in Appendix 14B of the tile part assemblies such as split rings and collars, prefabricated even the manufacturer certified that have been tested at least twice the maximum pressure with which they are subjected under the anticipated operation conditions. Orange and peel plugs, bowl plugs, orange peel swages may not be used with a pipeline that operate with above pressures of 125 psi or more, except for flat course design in accordance with the ASME Boiler Pressure Vessel Code, Section 8, Division 1 and 2, as described in Title 10.3 of the flat closure and fish tails may not be used on pipes that operate a 100 psi gauge or more than 3 inches in nominal diameter. Component having the design pressure established in accordance with the subdivision A and B of the section and subject with the strength testing according to Title 49 CFR 192.505B must be tested at least 1.5 times maximum allowable working pressure. Alright, 255, 155 weld branch connection. Each weld branch connection made to the pipe with the form of the single connection or in header manifold series connection must be designed to ensure the strength of the pipeline system is not reduced, taking into account with the strength of the remaining pipe with the tube of the opening of the pipe header with the shear stress produced the pressure reaction acting on the area of the branch opening with external load of the thermal movement, the weight, and with the vibration. The reinforcement required with the welded branch connections is determined the rule with the material area available to reinforce the equal or greater than required with the defined rules of reinforcement welded branch connections. Example 1 and 2, Appendix 14G with the title. If a reinforcement member is required, branch diameter such that the localized type of the reinforcement membered weld would extend around more than half of the circumference of the header, then complete encircle entitlement of the reinforced member that used and regardless of the design of hoop stress and smooth, the contoured raw steel T proven design may be used. Alright, extruded outlets, 255, 157. Each extruded outlet must be suitably anticipated surface condition must be at least equal to the design strength of the pipe, the other fittings of the pipeline which is attached. 255, 159, flexibility. Each pipeline must be designed enough for flexibility to prevent thermal expansion, contraction, and cause of excessive stresses of the pipe and the components, except depending on unusual load of joints, undesirable forces, and moments of the pipe connection with the equipment of the anchorage of guide points. 255, 161, support and anchors. Each pipeline associated with equipment is incurred with the anchor to support, prevent, under design of the train with the connected with the equipment, resist longitudinal forces caused by bending offside of the pipe to prevent damage out of excessive vibration. Each exposed pipeline must have enough support for the anchor to protect with the exposed pipe with the maximum force for the cause of the internal pressure for the additional forces caused by temperature expansion for the contraction and by the weight of the pipe. The contents of each support anchor of the exposed of the pipeline must be made durable, and non-combustible material of the must be designed to solve the compliance with the following: free expansion of the contraction of the pipeline below between support and anchors must be restricted. Provision must be made by the service that include involved movement of the pipeline may not cause the disengagement of the support equipment. Each support with the both pipeline operating with a stress level of 50% of the system yielded strength must comply with the following: actual structural may not be welded directly to the pipe. Support may be provided with a member with completely encircles of the pipe. If the encircling of the member is welded to the pipe with the weld, must continue with the coverage of the entire circumference. Each underground pipe is connected with the unyielding line or other fixed object that have enough flexibility to provide possible movement, and it must have an anchor that will limit the movement of the pipe. Each underground pipe that is being connected with the new branches must have a firm foundation, both header and the branch, to prevent lateral and vertical movement. Alright, 256.163 compressor station design consideration. Each main compressor building of the compressor station must be located proper under the control. Operator must have far enough away to the adjacent property not under control of the operator to minimize the possibility of catching on fire with the conflagration structure of the adjacent property. There must be enough open space around the main compressor building of the allow for the free move of the firefighting equipment at each building of the compressor station site. Must be made in non-combustible materials if it contains either the pipe more than 2 inches in diameter, then carrying gas under pressure for the gas handling equipment other than the gas utilization equipment used for the domestic purposes. See, each operating floor of the main compressor building must have the two separated with the unobstructed exit located so that provide with a conveniently possible able to scrape and unobstructed the passageway to place safety. Each door latch on each exit must be the type of which could be readily be opened with the inside without a key. With each swing door located at the exterior wall must be mounted with the swing outward. Each fence around the compressor station must have 2 gates and located to provide with a convenient opportunity to escape the place of safety. Have the other facilities affording similar convenient exit with the air with each gate with located between 200 feet. Any of the compressor plant building must be open outward, and when occupied must be openable from the inside without a key. Electrical equipment and wires installed with the compressor station must conform with the National Electric Code, National Fire Protection Association 70, and described in Section 10.3 of the title so far with the code is applicable. Alright, 256.165 compressor station liquid removal. When trapped vapors from the gas may liquefy with the anticipated pressure for the temperature condition, the compressor must be protected against the introduction of liquid quantity of the cold cause damage. Each liquid separator used to remove the entrained liquids of the compressor station have manually operable names for the removing these liquids have either automatically liquid facility with the automatic compressor shutdown device. High liquid level alarm which slugs the liquid could be carried into the compressor. And B3, the manufacturer according with the Section 8 of the American Society of Mechanical Engineer boil pressure vessel codes described in 10.3 with the title of the additional requirements of Section 255.153E of the part except the liquid separated constructed with the pipe and fittings without internal welding must be fabricated with a design factor of 0.4 or less. Alright, compressor station emergency shutdown. Except the unintended field compressor station with 1,000 horsepower release or less, each compressor station must have an emergency shutdown system that meets the following: must be able to block gas out of the station, blow down the station pipe that must be discharged from the gas, blow down piping location from the gas will not create a hazard, provides it means extinguishing the fire, shut down the gas compression equipment, electrical facility with the vicinity with the gas headers and the compressor building, except with the electrical circuit limits, apply an emergency light, and required to assist the personnel in evacuating compressor building and when the area of the vicinity of the gas head must remain energized. Electrical continuities, electrical circuits needed to protect the equipment that damage to remain energized. It must be operative with at least 2 locations, each of which outside the gearhouse of the area of the station, near the exit of the station, with the fence of the near emergency exits. If not fenced, not more than 500 feet from the limit of the station. Compressor station supplied with the gas directly with the system. No other adequate supplies of the gas system available. The emergency shutdown system must be designed so that the function of the wrong time. If it will not function at the wrong time, cause the unintended outage of the distribution system. Alright, 259.169 compressor station pressure limiting device. Each compressor station must have the pressure relief of a suitable protective device of sufficient capacity sensitive to ensure the maximal operating pressure station piping equipment does not exceed with more than 10%. Each vent line exhausts gas of the pressure relief valve of the compressor station must extend the location where the gas may discharge without the hazard. Pressure relief valve shall then install with the discharge line with the pipe of the displacement transmission compression between the gas pressure and the first discharge block valve. Relieving capacity shall be equal or greater than the capacity of the compressor. Our compressor station additional safety equipment. Each of the compressor station must have adequate fire protection fire pumps that part of the facility of operation may be effective with the emergency shutdown system. Each compressor station primary mover other than electrical inducted and synchronous motors must have automatic device shutdown until before the speed of either prime mover or the driver until it exceeds the maximum safe speed. Each compressor unit of the compression station must have a shutdown alarm device or alarm device that operates in event of the inadequate cooling of the lubrication of the unit. Each compressor station gas engine that operates with pressure gas injection must be equipped with a stoppage and automatically shuts off the fuel and vents to the engine down distribution manual. Each muffler of the gas engine of the compression station must have the vent slots holes on the baffle that each compartment will prevent gas from being trapped in the muffler. All fuel gas lines with the compressor station serving the various building residential areas shall provide with a master shutoff valve located outside of any of the building or residential area. Alright, 255-173 compressor station ventilation. Each compressor station building must be ventilated to ensure the employees are not in danger of accumulation of gas in rooms, hubs, attics, pits, or other enclosed spaces. Our 255-179 valve pump pipeline operating at 125 psi gauge or more. Each pipeline operating with 125 psi gauge or more must have sectional block valves spaced accordingly with the following: each point with the pipeline: Class 4 location, half mile; Class 3, 2 miles; Class 2, 3.5 miles; Class 1, 5 miles. Each section block operating device pipeline operating 155 psi gauge more, readily acceptable, protected, tampering, and damage to be supported, prevent set of the valve movement of the pipe is to be attached. Each section of the pipeline operating at 125 psi gauge more must have a blowdown valve with enough capacity to allow the line to be blown down as rapidly practicable with the other approved means to reduce pressure. Each blowdown discharge must be located within the gas can be blown to the atmosphere without hazarding the line with adjacent overhead electric lines, so the gas is directed away from electrical conductors. Distribution line valves 255-181. Each high pressure distribution system must have the valve space of the reduced time. Shut down the section of main emergency. The valve spacing determine the operating pressure side of the main with the local physical condition, number of the type of the consumer that might be affected by the shutdown. Each regulator station control the flow of the pressure gas distribution system must have relevant installed with the inlet piping the distance of the regulator station sufficient to permit operation of the valve during an emergency. Such distance must be at least 50 feet, but no more than 1,000 feet from the regulator. Under a unique circumstantial it's impractical to locate the valve at least 50 feet from the regulator. Lesser approved spacing may be used except single feed system regular stations reducing pressure from pound to pounds. Must also have the emergency valves installed with the station's outlet piping containing compliance paragraph B1 and 2 of this section. Each valve of the main installed with the operating emergency purpose by placed from the readily accessible location facility operation of emergency have the operating stem and the mechanism of the readily accessible. If the valve is installed with a buried box, enclosure be installed with a void transmitting external load to the main. Each station bypass valve without valve separately system operating with different pressure that must be identified to prevent unauthorized inadvertent operation. Be equipped with a device designed to prevent unauthorized operation. And we're moving on. Vault structural design. Each underground vault or pit valves pressure relieving pressure limiting pressure regulating equipment must be able to meet the loads which may be imposed upon with the protect and install equipment. There must be enough working space for the vault so that all the equipment required with the vault and pit with the properly installed with the operator and maintained. See, each piping entering within the regulator valve pit must be size of 10 inches or less, except with the control of the gauge piping may be the copper with when the pipe extend with the valve pit structure. Provisions may be made to prevent passage of the gas liquid from the opening to avert the standing strands of the pipe. Design of the vaults for the pits, pressure limiting, pressure relieving, the pressure regulating equipment consideration should be given the protection installed with equipment of the damage such as resulting expansion of the valve pit with may cause portions of the roof to cover the fall into the vault pits. Openings should be located with minimized hazard tools, other objects falling upon the regulator piping or other equipment to control piping operating parts of the equipment. It should not be located under the vault or pit opening with the workman can step on when entering and leaving the vault or pit unless such are suitable protected. Whenever the vault or pit opening is located above the equipment, which could be damaged by falling a cover of circular cover should be installed. Other suitable precautions taken. Alright, 255, 185 volts accessibility. Each vault must be located at accessible locations where practical, far away from street intersection points of traffic, heavily dense points of minimum elevation, catch basin, places accessible over the top of the surface of waters, water, electric, steam, or other facilities. Two 55, 187. The vault ceiling and ventilation. Each underground with a clove at the top pit containing either a pressure regulating or reducing station pressure, limiting a relieving station must be sealed with a ventilator ventilated. When internal volume exceeds 200 cubic feet, with each of the following available, the valve pit must be ventilated with the two ducts, each have the least ventilating effect with a pipe of 4 inches in diameter. Ventilating must be enough to minimize the formulation combustion atmosphere of the valve of the pit. The ducts must have enough high enough above the grate to disperse any of the gas mixture that might be discharged. When the internal volume is more than 75 cubic feet, but less than 250 cubic feet, the following may apply with the valve pit is sealed in an opening with a must-have of the fitting covered with an open hole through which the exposed moisture might be ignited. There must be means of the testing the internal atmosphere before removing the cover of the vault pit, and vented must be means of preventing external source of ignition with the reaching vault atmosphere. If the vault pit is ventilated, subdivision B and D with the section applies. If the vault pit is covered in subdivision C, the section is ventilated opening with the cover grading of the ratio of the internal volume in the cubic feet to the effective ventilating area of the covering of the grating in the square feet is less than 20 to 1. No additional ventilation is required. Alright, 255, 189 volts drains waterproofing. Each vault must be designed to minimize entrance to the water, and nevertheless, vault equipment is designed to operate safely. The submerged vault containing gas piping and maybe not connected means of the drain connection of the underground structure. All electrical equipment vaults must conform with the applicable requirements. Class 1 Group D, National Electrical Code, National Fire Protection Association 7, described in Section 10.3 of the title. (155, 190) calorimeter collar mixtures. Unmanned structure for the calorimeter collar mixture should be designed so that the aggressor should be directly within the outside, and all air movement should be directed to and from the outside atmosphere. All associated devices, vent valves should be ventilated by piping outside atmosphere. Unmanned rooms such as gas burning equipment should be equipped with sensing for the device provided with both automatic shutdown with a gas supply. Such rooms signaling an alarm to continuous man post, and all alarms shall be immediately investigated. See, combustible materials associated with such gas burning equipment should be stored safely in a manner that separates them from source of ignition. Alright, and then show the design pressure of polyvinyl chloride. Schedules 40 to 80 thermostatic plus, and must be attained on the following table. 255, 193 valve installation and plastic pipe. Each valve installed with a plastic pipe must be designed to protect plastic material against except for the torsional or shearing loads when the valve shuts off. It is operated from any other secondary stress that might be exerted from the valve or its enclosure. Alright, that was design of pipeline components.